Hello, I'm Anabrese, spiritual life and empowerment coach. Thank you for joining me in this video where we're going to talk and explore a little bit about what's normally referred to as the ego. So we generally think of the ego as something negative that needs to be gotten rid of, killed off, completely annihilated in some way before we can truly be enlightened. So that's the general consensus. But I've heard spiritual teacher Bentinho Massaro refer to the ego more as an effect, as the ego effect. And I tend to personally agree or align more and resonate more with that term, that it's an effect or it's it's an effect of a culmination of learned behaviors and programs and conditioned triggers or responses that are generally undesirable. You know, that's why people are on the enlightenment path, because they want to get rid of the ego, or at least be able to be present and conscious enough to be there before any of these triggered responses start to cause a problem. So basically, the ego effect is the learned behavior and programmed triggers that are generally thought of as undesirable. So things like anger, shame, guilt, blame, things that would generally be considered more reactive. So given any situation in our lives, any challenging situation in our lives, we can either be reactive or we can be responsive. So we can respond or we can react. So generally speaking, the quicker the reaction, we would say, is more like a kind of learned response, a conditioned response. But if you have been practicing self-awareness through your meditation, you've been developing the ability to be more present, to be more aware in your life, in this moment. The more you can live in this moment, the less likely you are to be reactive. If somebody just says something, you don't just jump in with a reaction. So the cultivation of consciousness and awareness on the spiritual path is the ability to be present with what's appearing, because you're not the appearances. You are awareness. You are aware of what's appearing. So you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions, and you're certainly not the conditioned responses and triggered and learned behavior. So by taking responsibility for our past and our past programming and our conditioned behavior, it means that we're not going to be projecting blame onto someone else. We are taking full responsibility for the manifestation of the ego effect, what we would call the ego effect. So we're not identifying with these reactions if they come up in the moment, and we're not going to judge ourselves for that either. It's because that would still be part of the ego effect. So we're more going to be aware in this moment, and when something comes up, it becomes much more noticeable. And then we can use self-inquiry, and just look to see, well, where did this come from? You know, what's the root programming for this reaction that I had? So basically, that's the difference between understanding the ego as more of an effect, because it doesn't really exist then. It doesn't exist as a separate object to the self. So there is only one you. There's only one you driving your life. There's only your free will and your ability to, your consciousness basically, to move through life and make choices and change directions or whatever. So there's only one of you here. There is no separate ego. It's not a separate thing to you. It's not an objective thing. It's not an object that you have to get rid of. So this is just my supposition. This is just, what resonates for me. But I just wanted to do a video to share and, see if any of it resonates for you and makes any sense and maybe helps. Maybe some of the content in this video has helped to just clarify a few things. And the main thing I think really to take away is just that you are not what appears before you. So whether it's, reactions, um, elation, it's not even just the negative emotions, it can also be the positive emotions. You're not any of that. You are here to be the witness to all these things. So certainly the generally unwanted behaviors considered as the ego effect are not who you are. And the more we feel in alignment with, the source of our being, and we're just present and easy, and realize and recognize that we are not anything that we can identify with, basically. We're not anything that we identify with. So if you can identify with it, it's not you, because you are prior to any form or any identity. So thank you for tuning in. I hope that's been helpful. And also, if you're interested, I will be running a new coaching program soon called the Unlimited Empath. And it's for people who would like to overcome overwhelm, especially if they're quite sensitive or empathic in the world, so that they can serve more and be more of service to this beautiful earth and the people in it. So thank you for watching. Take care.